What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And the news has been going hard and fast. I know you're probably like, what is that? It is ridiculous, and I don't need to be wearing it. But in today's video, Sean Duffy ends up doing an interview on CNBC talking about the executive orders that the president just signed. And what these executive orders do is it allows the car manufacturers to not have to have overburdensome emission systems. It pushes back on fuel economy standards, aka CAFE standards. It basically eliminates the carbon credit system, which is going to hurt Tesla. But there's a reason why all the stocks, General Motors, Ford, and especially Stellantis, have all been up. We're going to get into all of that and more right after this.
Man, I'm out in the M5 right now today, and we're out doing our Christmas shopping and trying to get some stuff done for people that I care about, because it is that time of year again. Lights are up, gifts are piling up, and if you're still hunting for that perfect last minute present, I've got you covered. This right here is the Exter Card Holder Pro. Honestly, one of the cleanest wallets out there. It's made from 100% recycled aluminum, blocks RFID without bulking up your pocket or your bag. I actually grabbed this one as a Christmas gift from my baby girl. The color was classy, it's functional. She's been wanting something sleek like this, and she totally enjoys it. If you're traveling or visiting family this season, the travel vacuum pack kit is another solid pick. I've covered it here a few times, and it keeps everything organized and saves a ton of space in your luggage. And for my Android folks, the new Finder card is clutch. It's rechargeable and helps you track your wallet at any time. And they have all different kind of trackers, not just for Android, but iOS as well. Exter's running their Christmas sale right now, up to 54% off. And if you use my code TK's Garage, you'll get an extra 10% off at checkout. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code that's been on screen. And it's a perfect time, like I said, to grab a gift that actually gets used. And maybe one for yourself too. And as I've said in the past, guys, I don't promote anything. We don't sponsor anything on this channel unless I actually use it. And why this one is not the Card Holder Pro, it is the wallet. You can see how overpacked I have this thing, how durable this thing has been, and how great this thing has been to use. And even though I have it packed like that, it still works every single time.
Major shout out to our sponsors over at Exter for what they do for us every single month. We appreciate them, and I love their wallets. What can I say? But yeah. So Duffy does this interview. We're going to get into that right now in full, so you can see it and see what he's talking about. At least the relevant part that has to deal with CAFE standards, emission systems, and all that. So, because a lot of the people that were like, nothing's going to change. No, this happened at the White House. We literally ran that entire video, that entire press conference in its entirety. The video is over an hour long. It's here on the channel. Go look at it. But anyways, so we do that, and now here we are. And Duffy's already talking about the changes, and that for model year 2027, 2028, we should see at least $1,000 reduction, which I know people are going to be like, that's not a lot of money. But it is, because it's not going to be just $1,000. You're going to have these manufacturers doing other stuff that are going to make these vehicles much, much cheaper. But let's run into the interview, and then we'll come back and discuss.
Pulling back Biden-era fuel economy standards, Phil LeBeau joins us now with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Phil.
Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Secretary, thank you for having us here in the office.
Welcome to DOT.
Let's talk about the announcement yesterday. A dramatic cut in terms of fuel economy, miles per gallon. I think by 2031, the current standard under the Biden administration, 51 miles per gallon. You guys are saying, nope, 34 and a half. That's almost a 40% cut by 2031. Critics are looking at this and saying, why not just do it a little more gradually? And why did you go too far?
Well, so no, the last administration went too far. So the law was very clear. This is about combustion engines. And so the Biden-Buttigieg administration, they calculated EVs, they calculated hybrids, in the calculus, and so they gave you a standard that a combustion engine could never meet. And so we brought it back to what the law actually says we should do, looking at combustion engines, making slow, gradual increases in efficiency. The problem was, as you had the car makers, they were investing billions in technology to try to meet a standard that was never attainable. So it was driving up the cost of a car. And then if they didn't meet the standard, they had to buy carbon credits or efficiency credits. The big, beautiful bill took those away. But this is real savings for the American family, bringing down the cost of a car. And I think bringing more freedom and choice to the consumers, because car companies are going to make cars that the consumers want to buy.
The cynic will look at this and say, yes, the automakers will save about $109 billion. That's your guys' estimate. And that's fantastic for the automakers. It comes out to about $1,000 per car, theoretically, that should be saved for consumers. You and I both know it's tough to say prices will go down. Do you honestly believe that the auto industry will lower their prices?
Listen, the auto industry is very competitive, right? We see that. We see offers all the time, whether it's on interest rates or on incentives to buy. So yeah, listen, this is market driven, and so yeah, lower prices mean more sales. And by the way, if we bring prices down and we get newer cars on American roads, newer cars are way safer. We save lives with these new cars, which is fantastic. So no, and also I think if you're building a car, developing a car that Joe Biden or Pete Buttigieg wanted you to build, that's different than market demand. I want the market to decide what kind of EV I should offer, what kind of vehicles do the American consumers want to buy. This rule will actually allow you to bring back the 1970s station wagon, maybe a little wood paneling on the side, Phil. We can bring back choice to consumers. So yeah, the minivan's awesome, but maybe the station wagon is cool too.
But the average price paid for a new vehicle right now, just under $50,000.
Right, it's gone up.
Do you expect that to truly come down, let's say, by $1,000, $2,000?
Well, I know it's not going to go up by $1,000 or $2,000, right? Yeah, I'm hopeful they come down. But if you look at the auto market, yeah, number one, big beautiful bill says you can write off your interest payments. That's a great benefit for the consumer. Donald Trump, what he's done with American energy dominance, bringing down fuel prices. I was just in Wisconsin yesterday. A gallon of gas was $2.45 a gallon.
National average is under $3 now.
It's remarkable. And so, again, we're making small wins for the American consumer. The other administration was making small wins or small failures for the American consumer. So don't you want us to go in the right direction? Listen, if I'm going to buy a car, is $1,000 meaningful to me? Hell yes, it's meaningful. So let's not say that the $109 billion and $1,000 per car for the consumer isn't a big deal. I'm happy with that. Let's go further. But this is a great start.
Sean, I know Andrew's got a question for you. Andrew?
Mr. Secretary, I spoke to Mary Barra, CEO of GM, yesterday, and I wanted to show you a clip from that conversation and get your reaction to it, because I think this is something that is confronting CEOs of all stripes in all sorts of industries, but particularly, obviously, in the auto industry. Take a look at what she had to say.
If you look at what the policies are of each administration, we can't be blind to those. We have to make the investments to get to where the regulatory environment they set. We've seen a complete change in that, one way, in 180 degrees one way, 180 degrees back. That's the world CEOs of automakers are living in.
And Mr. Secretary, the question is, how do folks like Mary Barra avoid that? Which is to say, she was, all in on EVs, then she's slowing that down. I mean, and it's really been quite dependent on who's in office, and people are making these bets, effectively these investments that really should be much longer term than 4 or 8 or 10 years.
Yeah, it's a great question. So you see there's a ping pong, Andrew, right? We're going from a Democrat administration, Republican administration, policies are changing, and it's hard. If you're GM or you're Ford or Stellantis, huge problem. However, I think my job is to say, well, what does the law say? And the law says you can't take into the calculus EVs. You can't take hybrids into the calculus when you're going to set a fuel efficiency standard, which is what Biden and Buttigieg did. So let's follow the law. Let's set a reasonable standard, which is what we've done. And I think Mary would tell you, listen, if America wants to buy EV cars, GM is going to make EV cars, and Americans are going to buy them. What she did find, though, was that that's not what Americans want. they actually want to buy a different kind of car than Joe Biden wanted them to buy. So Donald Trump has said, let's bring freedom back. Let's let the consumer choose what vehicle works for them. And again, if you live in a city, an EV is great. But if you live in northern Wisconsin, where I come from, they don't work. It's cold and it's rural. So let me choose the vehicle that works for me. And by the way, at the same time, if I can bring the price of that vehicle down, the American consumer is a winner. And so President Trump has, and I hear him talk about it publicly, and I hear him talk about it privately, he cares about with the affordability for the American consumer. And he gets frustrated when we saw the inflation of the last administration, the price increases because of, say, fuel economy standards. There was no affordability. And he's actually working to make these products more affordable for the American consumer, going so far, and I was just telling Phil this, with energy dominance and bringing gas prices down as well.
Mr. Secretary, just one follow-up, and it's something that Mary and I talked about yesterday as well, though. Clearly, this should help bring and make cars more affordable in the short term right now. There's a longer-term question about a world in which China is able to make EVs at materially cheaper prices than ours, in large part because they are subsidized too, and what that ultimately means globally for American automakers, whether if they're not investing in the same way in EVs for all sorts of reasons, whether 10 years from now we're going to look and say our automakers are living in a regional or domestic market.
But is that my job at DOT or Donald Trump's job to force GM or Ford to invest in EVs? It's their job to look at the market and global demands. And if they see global demands for EVs are real, they should make those investments. But let's not force them to build cars that Americans don't want to buy in this country. We're not going to do that. And again, I think China loves the EV push because they control 90% of critical minerals. They have a corner on the market. Every car that's going to be sold is going to have Chinese parts in it and Chinese processed critical minerals in those cars. Listen, we have a lot of oil and gas here. We have so again, I think we should be responsive to global markets, but also to the American markets as well. And again, China wants this because China has a corner on critical minerals.
Let me ask you about something that came up in the Oval Office yesterday.
Yeah.
The president says, I saw these microcars, over in Asia. Why don't we have these here? We can't build them here in the U.S. I think we're not going to get into the technical parts of this, but there are reasons why we don't see those vehicles here in the U.S. Will you change the rules so that microcars can be built and they can be driven on highways? Right now, they're restricted by speed limits and safety features. Will you change that?
He called me after the meeting actually and said, let's change the rules. And so I worked with the NHTSA. We're in the process, clearing the deck. So listen, if there's a market for those vehicles, I want to give our manufacturers the opportunity to build those cars. And so we are at NHTSA going to clear the deck, clear the rules, and let them build those small cars. And again, are they going to work on the freeways? Probably not. But again, vehicles that work in cities, and if that's where you drive, it could be a great solution for you. And by the way, much more affordable than other options that are on the market today.
Let's switch gears real quick. Autonomous vehicles.
So like I said, you're going to see a lot of these interviews over the weekend. I'm going to be covering those, some of the changes, some of the stuff that DOT is doing directly. I will be talking about all of that. We'll be covering all of that here and over at the second channel, Auto Intel Daily. Make sure you're subscribed over there, as a bulk of our content or videos are going to be on Auto Intel Daily in terms of like news related stuff when it comes to leaks and things of that nature, and sometimes emission related stuff like we do here. So make sure you're subscribed over there. But anyways, look, I've been saying this for a minute, and I told you guys that this was going to happen. This is an I told you so video, kinda. I told you this was going to happen. And everybody was like, no, not going to happen. They're not going to do anything. And here we are. Here we are. The changes are coming. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends. I can't wait till I can just completely remove all the emissions crap off of this car. This one, they got none. But this one, whew.